Hi, I'm Callie and welcome to Kapowski Reads, and I am delighted that the TBR game is back for January. I didn't do my TBR game in December because I had a lot of sort of festive books that I had put aside for that month, and I hated not having a plan. I hated it. So the game is back and I'm ready to play. I also have some reading goals for 2024 that I would like to share. So I have a little tea because this might end up being a little bit longer than usual. Maybe it won't. I don't know. We'll find out. I suppose it makes sense to talk through my reading goals for the year and then go on to the game. I'm not overly bothered with how many books I read in a year. I have for the last 3 years, maybe 4, read over 200 books or around 200 books, and that's a lot. I would like to read a little bit less and use some of my spare time and allocate it to doing other things that I enjoy while still reading an absolute shed load of books, but shed load of books plus other things I like. So I haven't set my Goodreads goal / StoryGraph goal yet, but I'm thinking it's going to be around the 60 to maybe 100 mark. But I'm not too fussed about the total of books. It's about the quality. I'm not overly fussed about how many books I read, just as long as they are good books and I have a nice time with them or I learn something. I'm also participating in a whole gaggle of reading challenges, which do allow for quite a lot of overlap with my own goals. So that sounded perfect. So just like previous years, I have Kayla's Buzzword and I have Read Christie. So I will be picking a book for each of those every month. They're kind of my consistent challenges that I like to do every year. But I also have 3, I believe it's 3, extra ones that I'm doing this year. I'm doing a Kindle Crush challenge. Basically, I read a book from my Kindle every month. And I have decided that unless the TBR game picks something that works with my Kindle, I'm going to just have this as like a mood read option. I have no idea how many books I have on my Kindle because my boyfriend and I have a shared Kindle library, which means that they couldn't possibly all be mine. They're ours. They're our unruly Kindle shelves. But the differences in our reading preferences kind of show that the majority of them are mine, but they're ours. So I don't know how many I have on my Kindle. I'm just going to focus on making my way through some of them. I am also doing a 24 countries in 2024 challenge, which just sounded so fun. I am aiming to, so this challenge is kind of up for interpretation. And the way I'm hoping or planning to do it is that I'm planning to read a book set in a country written by an author who has lived in that country. And I did take a tally of the books I own that kind of fit that criteria, and I have got 24 books. So I'm pretty confident I can do it that way. I'm kind of hoping as well that I can maybe find something fun to make or eat that is inspired by those countries. And that idea is 100% due to me finding a really nice Hungarian cake recipe, and I have a book written by a Hungarian author. So I was like, I can make this cake. That's the beautiful thing about challenges. You kind of make them what you want them to be. And the final reading challenge that I'm participating in 2024, which I feel is sort of in keeping with my reading goals for the year, it's the Diverse Baseline, which basically is 3 prompts every month in order to help you to read more diversely. I would like to continue to read other points of view, other experiences that are different to my own. So I am ridiculously excited about all of these reading challenges. I think it's going to make for a really fun year. And I'm excited. So let's go on to my TBR. I'm going to start with my game and then any books that I have to add on because they weren't picked. Not have to. I don't have to read any of these. I want to and I get to. Rule number 1, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's blue. Which has a TV or film adaptation. Rule number 1 was a blue prompt, and this was a book that has a TV or film adaptation. And this is a book that I wanted so much to read in 2023. I just didn't have the time or the headspace for it. So first up is Poor Things by Alistair Gray. This will be a film. It came out in December, but it's not coming out in the UK until January. I want to say the 24th. This is a Frankenstein retelling or reimagining by Alistair Gray, who is a very, very famous Scottish author. I have read 2 of his books and I have finished reading those books going, what on earth have I just read? I expect chaos and madness from this book and I'm very excited. I kind of want to see the film when it comes out. Emma Stone, I was going to say excellent casting choice. I don't know, I've not read the book, but I mean, she's usually excellent, isn't she? I know that this is a Frankenstein retelling and it is from, as far as I'm aware, I think it's from the point of view of Frankenstein's monster, and she goes off on a sort of awakening and I think tries to live her best life. I don't know if she does it in the same way as in the traditional classic Frankenstein, but I'm gonna find out. It's quite short and I'm just excited. I think it's going to be bizarre, and a lot of my friends have highly recommended this to me in a sort of, why have you not read this kind of way. So first up on the list, rule number 2 is a 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yellow. Title starts with A or the. Rule number 2 was a yellow prompt, which was a book that has a title beginning with A or the. So, The Mystery of the Blue Train by Agatha Christie. This also works for my Read Christie prompt, which I don't think I mentioned what the Read Christie challenge was this year. I didn't. It's a publication year. So the first 3 months of the year are books that were published in the 1920s. The next 3 months are books from the 1930s. The next 3 months are from the 40s and 50s. And then October, November, December are 60s and 70s. And I'm very excited about this kind of plan. I feel it leaves it a little bit more open for picks. So this book was first published in 1928. And I have had people say that this is a sort of inferior version of Murder on the Orient Express, but I've read this before and I really enjoyed it. So I'm excited to have another read of this one in January. And also, can we just say how pretty? This is very pretty. Loving these hardbacks. Over the years, I've received a lot of these as Christmas or birthday gifts, and they're just so pretty and they make me very happy. Rule number 3 is a 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Another yellow, which I can't get. There we go. Title starts with the last letter of the previous pick. Ooh. For prompt number 3, another yellow prompt, which is a title that begins with the last letter of the previous pick. Very long one. I had to get up to go and get this book, and I stubbed my toe and I screamed very dramatically, and I have to disturb the cat and also hurt my toe. This is a book that begins with the letter N. So I'm going with Nightwood by Gina Barnes. This is a classic novel about a woman in the 1920s going to Paris to live her best life, which is a genre that I adore. And this is one of the books that I got from a Greta Gerwig reading list. I love Greta Gerwig. She's my favourite director. I have watched, I want to say, about 90% of every film that she's ever been in, and I've loved them all. But I wanted to read her favourite books because I thought, well, I mean, Frances Ha is one of my favourite films, so maybe she likes books. I thought that if somebody who makes things I likes things, that I might like them. That was my logic. So I got her reading list and this was on it, and I'm gonna read it, see how I get on. Might be our last roll. Let's see. 2. It's not. 1, 2. A pink. A book that's under 250 pages. There will be no rule 5. There will not. We survive and we're past the end. Ooh. And my last prompt for my TBR game was a pink one, and that was a book with under 250 pages. I have got Darling. Darling by Jackie Kay. This is a poetry collection. It is 240 pages, and Jackie Kay is a Scottish poet. She was our poet laureate at one point. I throwing out information with half the facts. I don't know what year. Again, my friends have been telling me I would love her poetry, and I haven't read it. So I don't read a lot of poetry, but I got this collection. It is a sort of newer collection, so a sort of the best of sort of thing. But I thought, what better way to introduce myself to a poet who I've been recommended than with a sort of the best hits kind of book. So that's my TBR game, but we've got some other reading goals. So I have ticked off, I've got my Agatha Christie book on the list with The Mystery of the Blue Train, and I've made a start on the diverse baseline picks with Darling, the poetry collection by Jackie Kay. For my Kindle crush, I am just going with the flow, which is a phrase that I very rarely say, and I never mean I will not go with the flow, but I will pick that later based on how I'm feeling at the time. That seems like a good option. For Kayla's buzzword, the prompt was there, and I've got a little non-fiction for this one, which is Neither Here Nor There by Bill Bryson. This is a non-fiction tale of the author's trip around Europe when he was a young man. I have read the Walk in the Wilds, the one where Bill Bryson goes off to a big woodland forest in the US. I don't know the name of it. It's a very famous forest. National park. I got no facts today. I really enjoyed the book of his that I read before, and he's written a really interesting book about the human body, and that was fascinating. So I'm very excited about this, and it was a struggle for me to find a book that met this prompt because I'd read almost all of my books with there in the title, apart from one which I want to read later in the year. Cryptic. So that's all done. The diverse baseline prompts for January are poetry collection. I have Darling by Jackie Kay. Latin author, I have got one of my favorite authors. I've got Silver Nitrate by Silvia Moreno Garcia, who has never let me down, always delighted and amazed me. So I'm very excited about this book. And the final prompt was for a fat main character. And I've got Zora Books' Her Happy Ever After by Tia McCoy. I got this at Christmas. I won a competition, and it was just one of those random Instagram competitions where people are like, yeah, I'll get you a book from your wish list. And this arrived, and I was just so happy. Because I've been kind of dipping my toe in the water of romance novels in December, and I wanted to read a few more. So gonna read this one. And then for my 24 countries in 2024, I am definitely going to have we're visiting Mexico if I can hold the book up. We're going to be visiting Mexico. I have a delightful recipe that I got on a website that involved me ordering chilies on the internet. And I'm probably going to maybe start nice and easy with a Scotland pick, because I have a whole bunch of books that I didn't get through last year and I want to get through. I want to read everything, but at the same time I want to make time to do other things but still read everything. Why do I not have Bernard's Watch, which was a TV program in the 90s of a guy who had a watch that could stop time, and I've been jealous of that watch ever since the 90s. He didn't deserve that watch. He was an idiot. He went outside without his trousers. I want that watch. Anyway, I'm rambling. So here are my January, TBR Hopefuls. I am so excited about each and every one of these books. If you've read any of them, let me know how you've gotten on with them, and let me know what you are planning to read for January, and if you've got any reading goals for the year. I'm so excited. It's always really exciting to start a new year, especially because this year starts on a Monday, and I don't know why, but that feels like the ultimate in a fresh start. So I'm excited. Happy New Year. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.